time to quote it. Because Proverbs 31, in this modern day and time, is a little different because we live in a time when Proverbs 31 can't be really seen correctly. Because if you read it, the Bible talks about the woman actually making sure her household is in order. In fact, it says she goes out and she takes care of business and makes sure her house is furnished. She sells merchandise. She even cooks, if you refer to this chapter. And so when we look at the modern day woman, we sometimes question, like, what is really going on? Because this day and time, we hear in society that it's the more focus on the man doing the stuff in the household. If you read Proverbs 31, you'll kind of be confused. Trust me, you will, because it basically tells you that the woman is the one that actually takes care of the household. She goes out, she makes sure they have money in the house. And the church say amen.
Amen.
Now, you know, I only hear the men. So we're not going to start a male war against the women. So there's something, I'm going to do a little something different today. In the midst of all the things that they say about women, there's a part of that scripture that hits home real hard that I'm going to focus on this morning. Because I think without this part of the scripture, we are, failing. Now, I'm about to take this little shot at our guys. The Bible said the husband, he's respected among the elders. He's sit with the elders. And so the key thing for both sides, for the women, is that verse is key for you, for one, is that when you select a husband, guess what he has to be? I just told you. He has to be respected among the elders. He's talking about the leaders of the community. So that means he can't go around, I hope I can say this word in church, being a homo. He can't go around being a gambler or a drunk or a hustler. He can't do that. No, he can't do that. And so what happens is that's connected to what the woman actually is supposed to be doing. Because if the woman follows those first 10 verses, right? She does her job. She comes in and she brings linen and she provides wool and she buys things that the household needs. She takes care of the house. But since she takes and selects a male, a husband, that is not respected among the community, that means everything. You know, y'all know what the word "but" means, right? It cancels everything that happens before. And so what really happens in this scripture, we read it today, it's a passage of scripture that leaves responsibility on both parties. So I don't know where y'all at today, but that's sharing a devotional thought. We both, male and female, have a responsibility in our household. The Bible describes the woman's responsibility. It also describes the male's responsibility. The male's responsibility is actually to cover the house when it comes down to the community, right? How the family looks outside of the house. And so he has to have a form of authority where he sits, because the Bible says he sits among the elders. You read it, he sits there. So the only way you can sit among the elders, you have to have an elderly representation. That you carry yourself in that manner. And so my little small devotion thought for y'all this morning. Let's all take care of our business. Both men and women. Y'all all right with that? Was it long? It's something kind of spark your brain. I know y'all can go back and read it. Especially our women. They're gonna go back and say, oh no indeed. I'm not about to take care of no household. But for men, trust me, when you read that passage of scripture, you're going to find yourself in a difficult situation. Because it's not just talking about, church people think that only applies to pastors and ministers. When in a relationship, your level of influence, your level of character, and respect in your community, because we only talk about pastors being above reproach. But Proverbs pushing a whole different mind frame. So that's it. I ain't talking about that. I see we're not probably gonna have a PowerPoint this morning. might be wide, so
Somebody got confused?
that thing that she gonna get one of the culture.
You got windows?
You got windows? Oh.
Get a podium too.
Didn't know your strength.
Proverbs 31. So while we wait, I'll do a roll call, y'all mind. SMCI. Show of hands, how many got me SMCI? Cause I don't see Sarah. Oh, there she go right there. She usually have donuts and she ain't in the building.
I'm gonna be on time this morning. I didn't have
No, I'm just saying, that's Sarah.
I got cookies.
She usually bring donuts.
I want those down.
That was her, you know, that's what somebody told me when she come. You know, every time she came, she brought donuts.
I really figured Christy was gonna say something, but I didn't have anything with me.
That's where that came from.
She said Krispy Kreme or she said
Bye.
I don't know what she said. Okay. SSI, how many of y'all brought? Y'all brought you, Sarah, and 2 chapters. So let's remember this for y'all superintendents ever called me about rebuking. They need to have somebody left behind. I think the message said bring her chaplain. Yeah, chaplains. Yeah, that's on me, so whatever happens. Either way it go, I took a lick for it this morning, so it don't really matter. I'll be telling y'all, you know, kind of help me when I don't help myself. So, let me see who else here. MSP, I guess y'all all sitting at the same table. Walnut Grove, MCIW, y'all sitting at the same table. Who I'm missing? Marshall. Y'all reluctant to wave y'all, wave your hand. All right. Who all y'all got? Just to make sure we.
Chaplain, Botex, Ranch.
Okay. Right. I don't know who this young lady is in the back right there.
Ashley, I'm the vocational supervisor, training supervisor.
And what?
ASCI.
SSCI. Okay. So I don't see Miss Grace Fisher. She was supposed to represent downtown. So she gonna come in the late hours of the day. And so, let me tell you, we're gonna have a nice Delta. Sorry about that.
I'm used to it.
Excuse me, ma'am. Sorry about that.
My chaplain's on vacation.
The chaplain on vacation.
DW McDowell will be here, don't
DW McDowell will be here about 10. All right. So we're gonna have a fun day. I see one person that brought their vision board, and nobody else has brought one.
That's not true. There's one right there, there's one right here. Oh, my trouble.
Ooh.
Come on now.
Somebody wants your picture, so.
So I see they got one big old vision board. I see one sitting by her chair. I was just playing. I see. I ain't know what that was y'all had right there. So why y'all chaplain is sitting alone? I just want to know.
I don't know.
Why is he a
Persons over there on that game.
See, I come from a place that we did a little things a little different. So
Look good for me.
this what I'm gonna ask y'all to do if y'all don't mind. Be some good. Go in. I did this on purpose. We're away from prison. So that means I want y'all outside the institution so I can talk to y'all regular. Now, why in the world all y'all chose to sit back that way? I just want to know. I just have a curiosity.
Yeah.
But the screen, y'all didn't want to be up on the screen.
I don't want people behind me.
So we can
Oh,
see.
okay.
You've been here too long.
Now, I sustained her situation. But can y'all chaplain sit with y'all? I like to have like a little family setting, so I might label the table.
Light over the table.
Yeah, y'all might be family folk.
Do we need to do something to start this?
Well, I would ask that y'all kind of like, you know, migrate to this way. Just feel like, unless y'all want me to come in the middle. Y'all want me to come in the middle? I'm gonna come in the middle. I'm gonna come to y'all. I'm just gonna, cause I see what's going on. We gonna, yeah, I'm gonna come to y'all. We ain't acting right this morning. Now y'all still in the front. And so we're gonna discuss some things, cause I'm gonna tell you, we we have a real critical next 3 months. And so, very important that we kind of all start speaking the same language. So we're gonna go through some things, kind of slow, some things that you may have to say, slow down, I need to discuss that a little more. I need to work on getting us set up. So I got y'all attention. I don't think we have nobody else coming in. So we're gonna start the meeting up and talk about the program, department's responsibility, and what falls under it. I know we probably got some stuff that's about to come down real soon, because, y'all know how things happen, change come, and that's the only thing permanent, is change. So I'm gonna read this, and maybe next week it may be changed. It's saying the truth. So the program department, responsibility of the chaplain department, recreation, faith-based, which I don't know how that is, something different. But social evidence-based programs, and we'll talk about that, because I think sometimes that needs to have to be discussed. Inmate employment, incentive pay, clubs, vocation department, all that's education, all that's under the program department. And so we're gonna cover all of that today. Some of the things that we're gonna talk about has been kind of discussed. We're gonna kind of do the training on it today. For me, I'm looking at one of them, especially when it comes down to clubs. Everybody wants to know what to do with the clubs. So today, we're gonna kind of work through it, the slow way. Because I think the church say I got it all the way to 3 o'clock. I'm not gonna try to go to 3 o'clock, but if we have to, that's what we're gonna do. We got fried chicken and French fries. Now, some of y'all like to have the Popeyes way, or the churches where you want a pepper, you just let me know, so I can let them know to bring some peppers. If you just want your fried chicken regular with French fries, that's cool. We turned on the drink machine, so we're gonna have drinks. Everybody say all right with that. We're not gonna starve you, but we're gonna have a, work lunch. If that's okay? We're gonna go through it, take my time, try to, at least I'm from New Orleans, so sometimes even when I'm taking my time, I'm really not. So they slow me down and say, hey, I don't know what in the world you just said. I'm not gonna get offended. Y'all all right with that? So, the chaplain part, one of the things I wanted to cover while we have all the chaplains here, Ms. Masters, correct me when I may stumble through some of this, is that all of us need to be on the same page when it comes down to the field ministers and local churches. Everybody, across the board. We came in, and most of y'all know, 2020, this is what you said, is 3 years. It's 3 years for her. I had mine early in August the 3rd. So 3 years ago, we came to Mississippi. And there's some things that have changed drastically, some things have not. One of the things that we changed instantly, and I would tell you, I always mess with the field ministers. I always say, do you want to go back to the month of August? And so for some of you chaplains who are here, the month of August was kind of dreadful because the field ministers were not actually sitting in the dormitory, they wasn't being used. Things would happen, they actually had another name, it was called, IRAs. And so they had a piece of legislation with no follow. In fact, I remember they had part of the legislation talked about some of the responsibilities of the field ministers and also some of the responsibilities of the chaplains at the time. So what happened was we had to actually sit down, me, Ms. Masters, Brian Olivier, who's not here with us, and come up with a policy and a different, clear direction. And some of it been trickling down. Some of the stuff you may already know, we want to get some clarity because at your institution, you're going to be responsible and actually do the things that we need to be done. Right? Some institutions are doing better, and I would say if you look at Central, I'm not being biased, I guess at this point, but down there where we at, down this point, it's operating fully. Thanks to Ms. Masters and her work she's done with the community and the churches around here, especially this church. I would tell you, this is one of our churches. I hope every one of y'all get a church like this. So I can pick up the phone and say, look, I need a transmission, and they'll try to find it for me. I'm just telling you straight up.
Hey, Trey and Wade, that's all you.
So that's my guy right there. So they work well with our field ministers and for the program. And it's gonna be a partnership that sometimes look weird, because both parties have to have an understanding, the feelings and the chaplains, and the three parties in the church. It's gonna take all three. And so we're gonna kind of go over a volunteer package that we set down and develop, that I think if you're gonna train a volunteer, because this is some things, and some of this stuff is coming from stuff that recently happened. And so we get together so we can get a clear understanding. When people come to your institution, this is what they need to know. Now, if you had already volunteers, y'all had a training previous before, because me and Ms. Masters, you know, she might wanna do it, but we cannot do it all. We can't go from SNCI, MSP, to Marshall, and do your volunteer training. Can't do it. Right or wrong about that, you think we do it?
No, I know, again, I have offered like for SNCI to come do one, for y'all to see how we're doing it, how we go through the packet. So I don't mind coming to do one and letting y'all see how we've done it, what we've developed. But then after that, I gotta meet, like, I can't spend
So
all
she's
the time.
saying she don't mind, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I hate to walk off like James Brown. I ain't doing it. I think we got smart people
Absolutely.
sitting in the room. Smart chaplains. I think once you're told, this is how, what I'm gonna say to you. And Ms. Master's hard to try to spread herself that way. I'm already spread this year too. But I wanna say to you, I believe in y'all. I think once you see it, we're gonna do it this morning, we're gonna lay it out, and then you say, well, you know, I got a question about it, or I don't know how that fits in with me. And we gotta have an honest conversation. I think that part we can do. I think the training, I'm just gonna be honest with you. Whether you know this or not, I ain't trying to be hard or different. What we're gonna give you, that's what you need to go by. And look, I have a job, you have a job, we all work for the same commission. So what I'm telling you has already been approved, and at this point, this meeting right here, this is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna just let y'all know, one of the reasons why we have this training is so everybody can stop saying they don't know. Y'all understand that? That's for everything. Everybody gonna know what needs to be done, because we got, every meeting, what happens is the superintendent will come, and Kane will do what he do. And so, it's gonna get to the point where, look, you're getting paid, and this is our job, but it's also, you should have a passion about what you're doing. So if you don't know something, what should have happened is, hey, there's some people I should just talk to about. So, and I ain't saying everybody did that, that's not what I'm telling you. I'm just telling you, after the day, questions are gonna be answered, concerns should be voiced, and we can answer those questions. But going forward, we should all be on the same accord, understanding. I'm talking about that's all the way down to when we handle vocational school. Is that all right? Don't have the doom and gloom look. It's gonna be some tough talks. I'm just sorry about that. That's a part of meetings, that's part of training, right? And I already know we all have our way of doing things, right? But part of this job is making adjustments. Y'all know that? Sometimes you make them on the fly. So I think we got some packets. I don't know if you put them on the table. I was prepared to actually have them. And mainly, I'm gonna give this packet to the chaplain.
I can, as soon as I find this, like the electronic copy, I will send that on to y'all. My jump drive is currently MIA in my house.
Yeah.
Or I will recreate it in the next 2 weeks. If so, the next 2 weeks y'all will have like an electronic copy of it.
Yeah. Good job. You gonna have to- we lacking one. We lacking. You got one. So y'all gonna need one. So you might give another one to the director. So Sarah, you gonna take this one with Lisa? I should know. I think we got enough to give the director one. So she don't really need, she needs. So we gonna need one.
And y'all, when you start looking real quick, like Jordan, I'm not trying to take, but like,
Right.
this is for adoptive churches. The one you just got is the biggest one. There's two different ones. There's one for non-religious, and there's one for religious workers. If you've got people coming in that are not coming to do anything religious, I have a separate one that has no, yeah, like Lashetta spoke, it has no religious verbiage, anything like that in it. The one you have is super religious because it has like a long-term vision of the commissioner, how the adopted churches work, how the field ministers, like all of that is in there so the volunteers can see it as well. Because what we've experienced in the last 3 years is volunteers who are not happy with the changes that have been made because they're not the ones behind the pulpit, they're not the ones driving the ship anymore, the field ministers are. And when they get through that page that has the long-term plan and vision, it helps them understand 100 times better what their role is, where we've got them plugged in, what they're doing. We're not dismissing them, we're shifting their seat on the bus, but they are still very vital to how it works. So this is the religious one. There is another one, so I can send you both so y'all have both.
And y'all should have that facility though. I think that one is widely passed out, I think.
Unless you sent it out, I haven't. Because I keep tweaking it.
Well, that's.
But I will make sure everybody has it the next 2 weeks electronically.
Please have that, so.
Yeah.
Mainly the reason why I want to go over is what she just said. So, when we first started doing this training, I think I felt like I was on Apollo. Y'all ever seen how when somebody came out to sing a song and the voice didn't fit the song and the people booed? Y'all remember that Sandman? Some of y'all, come on, everybody here. And so picture being in the church and having that type of tension, like, look, we don't want to hear that. And so and it didn't calm down till you went through the whole thing and kind of explained it, right? So what you're gonna have to do is, especially those who have not did a training, that you just been letting the people come in. You have to come back and do the training and let them voice their opinion before off what you see on paper, right? And so when you first see it, it says welcome, volunteers, and it goes over this first page, you see? I think I did well. The last time I finished this in about 25 minutes or
So
something.
you and I both cut it down to about an hour and a half with them filling out paperwork and everything.
And you can do it
Yeah.
that quick. And sometimes you're gonna have to read straight down. You know, some of your orders you're gonna have to read page by page. Once you get used to knowing the document, and some of y'all may not be like me, I'm familiar with the documents, I just kind of highlight the most important parts, and I go through it, right? And I flip the page, and what I'll do is stop, engage, and ask the question, like, hey, y'all understand what I just said? Right? And I'm saying this because this will probably be our first time dealing with this. I will do it just like I'm doing right now. I go to the first page, I turn that page, and I will stop, engage, and say, hey, excuse me, y'all understand what we just said, or do you understand what's going on? Do you have any questions about the direction that we're going? And usually, the first thing gonna come out is, I'm just gonna play this back and forth. Excuse me, ma'am, you have any questions, concerns?
Why can't I be the one in charge anymore?
And so that's the usual response, right? And so you have to be crafty, right? Now some of y'all might not want to say this as what I'm talking about. So I describe the prison as a small city. Y'all know that's what this is, right? So my response sometimes, and which I have done, this master have a way of doing it, is I know church language. Some of y'all may not, some of y'all chapters better than church language. That churches know about adopted churches. They know that when they go to somebody else's church, they're under that person's authority, and that person gives them the church service. It's not their church. And so I start talking that language to them in that moment. It's like you. We at Cross Gates. There's a church right down the street that supports us. When Cross Gates go to Park Place, they don't go in there and take over their church. What they do is they're assigned by the pastor of that service and say, look, today you're going to minister. And they work together. And so we start talking about, well, there are going to be times where you're working with a church, and if you adopt them, what happens is y'all come together, y'all have leadership meetings, and you start dialoguing with them and making them understand. It's just like starting another Cross Gates inside of an institution. And so y'all have that working relationship. Now y'all can discuss that one week, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna teach Bible study. The next week, y'all gonna come in and you're gonna teach Bible study. I'm just gonna support you as the pastor. And so you wanna kind of make them understand that, listen, it's you doing what God called you to do. It's to continue to make disciples, right? And we talk about the church world, that churches are supposed to do that. Find other churches. So now you assisted another church. It is planted inside a person. And so you kind of dialogue that person and say, hey, you are a minister. You're just not behind the pulpit. There are other things that you're doing. And they'll do what you did. Now you have some that's like pouting, and you got to work through it. And I would tell you, don't spend a lot of time with that person that looks like that, because guess what they're going to do? When you finish the training, they're going to come up. And you can have one-on-one time. So don't take a lot of time when you're doing this. You flip to the next page, right? What's the number one rule that you should tell all volunteers? It's a coin I see. It's something simple that all of them remember.
Nothing in, nothing out.
Don't bring nothing in, don't bring nothing out. Straight up, it's easy to tell them. That's the easy way to keep them safe. And so you flip and you go through. I'm gonna tell you, I believe if you haven't did this, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this at the moment. If you haven't did a volunteer training, what I would do for the first time, guess what you need to do? Go line by line, making sure they understand exactly what's going on. And then afterwards, after you go through, so you might not be a person like me that can talk and engage people and move on. So you may have to say, look, let me present what I'm presenting, and then afterwards, if you have questions, come up and I'll discuss with you one by one, right? Everybody has a different style, but I'm just telling you the material needs to be touched. You may need to go over this whole packet. What I did, because I went over the whole packet and I highlighted some very important key factors, right? That we all know because we work in the institution. Some things need to be pounded on, right? Y'all know that? You gotta pound this stuff in the head, like cell phone. Y'all gonna see a fault like that. Stuff like that, taking pictures. Stuff like that needs to be pointed out, because a lot of our church people, they think they can bring their phone everywhere to put on Facebook what they're doing. And some of our volunteers that are not church people, they think the same thing. And so you have to point it out, like, look, you have been told, because they're gonna have to sign a paper saying that you told them that, right? So there's some things that you actually need to highlight. Drugs, you need to talk about that. You need to make sure they know about the actual laws concerning sex inside of a prison. Huh?
When I do it, that's rule number 2.
Yeah, that's rule number
Don't
2.
have sex in my prison.
Yeah, so you gotta bring out dress code, right? That's another major issue. Sometimes you gotta tell people how they gotta dress inside of an institution. And so you may focus on some things that you know that's gonna transpire inside of your institution, right? Some things that you have heard about that needs to happen. Chain of command. So for instance, when it's dealing with the volunteers, what you should do is set up. I think this master did a good job by taking, and each church has somebody, a point person, that is a point person of that adopted church. So you kind of spend some time talking about how you want to see this happen. You don't want everybody, you don't want the last person who just happened to be there have a new idea for the whole church, and there's an actual church leader. So you want to make sure everybody understands in that room there's a point person. So you got to kind of talk about that, the chain of command, and also when they're inside the institution, who they should go to, fraternization. You want to go over that because that's very important, right? You got a situation. I'm just going to bring it out because some of this stuff we just need to open up. So fraternization looks several ways. We have one person that right now, Kairos. Anybody know about Kairos? It's a good ministry for anybody that's in challenge, right? Now Kairos has been suspended in one of our prisons. I'm not going to say which one, but if they would have had this training and with real detail about what fraternization was, they'd have understood that you can't go in and start talking to an inmate about his private business and get involved in his personal life. That would save that ministry. So some things you gotta highlight, all right? You understand that? Because you don't want a good ministry actually not able to come to the prison. And so when you train it, y'all, some of y'all know what I'm talking about? That if you don't tell a person that, I made a joke about fraternization and got a man in trouble about it. You remember that, Ms. Johnson? At your good church? So you know how you be fraternizing. Wife on one aisle and you go to talking to the woman on the other aisle. You act like you ain't did it.
That man did not know what to do. When I was in public, that wasn't in my church. I was in public. He didn't know what to do.
You did not want to hear that.
That is, actually, they're not wanted to, you know, some of the people are trained and orientated about certain things, but nevertheless, you know, in it.
Yeah, now that part, that's, what I wanna make sure, that's on them. I don't want it to be on us. So when you do this training, you sign that I address these issues to you. You right, no matter what you do, that's just like us here. You know, we have a job, we got some people that went through training, they do what they want to do, right? They got some people that work under you, they gonna do what they wanna do. But as long as you done told them, look, you know, and it's like this, and y'all know this, you can get somebody a job description, right? And be clear about the job description, and they don't never do the job. Now that part is not on you. What's on you is if you don't address the issue with, look, you're not doing the job somewhere. It's talking to supervisor, because that's what's gonna happen as a chaplain, director or chaplain. When your volunteers, they don't do what y'all agreed upon in this packet, it's time for you to say, hey, y'all might not be welcome here. And that's the email, you go back and you say, this was addressed, you signed this packet, we trained you on it, and you still did this, so at this time, your ministry is no longer allowed, because we have on file, we already talked about it. All right? And so that's all I'm making sure. You're right, they're gonna still do what they're gonna do. We're gonna keep going through this, I see they're working on, they got it going. And so this page, that Ms. Master was talking about, that's highly, get in depth with, religion, and it talks about the picture of the adopted church. So you spend a lot of time here, especially, you know, the I did one that has those who are in regular programs and in church. And so when you get to this page, if you got a mixed crowd, where you're dealing with people that just there, that's not for religion, you talk about this and you say, this don't fit you, so we're about to go over this. What you're actually doing, you know, the chaplain, you're doing your job. And so when you get to this page, you talk about this, you go in depth with it, and so it's clear, it talks about it, exactly what we feel, that is the best knowledge, it was well written. Thank you, Ms. Masters, for that. We sat down, had that meeting, we put that down, that's well written. So all you have to do is basically go over. It's gonna be self-explanatory.
The page before that, the ID badges,
Yeah.
who do we need to go through?
So now that right there, that's gonna always be, I'm glad you asked that question. So the ID badge is gonna come from the superintendent's office. Once you turn that paperwork in, what you always do, go back and check to see if CID cleared them, and then you check again to make sure personnel, once they approve, you check it, the superintendent's office say, hey, we still don't have an ID badge for our volunteers. And everybody knows about ID, right? It's always hard, sometimes and I don't know who do your IDs, because every place is different. But sometimes they get real busy and it's kind of hard just to get in front of that computer and take that picture. But you may want to schedule dates with that person and say, look, I'm gonna do my volunteer training here. And as soon as I get the paper back, I'm gonna do it at a certain time where everybody comes in to take their picture. And I have all of them coming, so you might want to work that out. But it's mainly gonna be, you calling the superintendent's office and dealing with the secretary to schedule those things. And so that's very important, because there's a bunch of volunteers that don't have badges. So, that's an important part. Long-term goal for MDOC. So look, when you go down this, it's gonna basically tell you, even as a chaplain, it's gonna help you out. But some of us have not read this page, right? It tells you about the field ministers and what their perimeters are, and what the churches are, what your perimeters are as a chaplain, and it shows you the extension of your hand, and what things you can do. I remember talking about chaplain clerks versus the field ministers, making sure you understood the difference, right, and understood what they are. And some of us just took that and went some other way with it, right? And so if you had this paper, you went through training, you actually look at it as a chaplain, you would say, okay, well, that's not exactly what this is. You have to be honest with yourself.
Between a chaplain clerk and a field minister, just so it's said out loud.
Yeah.
Okay, so field ministers have to have finished their seminary degree. So males have to have finished their degree from the seminary at MSP, not an outside school, not somewhere else, but it has to have been done while they were with us at MSP, and then they are sent from there as a field minister. Like, I know of someone who's gonna be coming to serve some time with us soon who got their degree from the same school on the outside, In the words of the commissioner, it must not have stuck. Cause you're now with us. So, if it happened before, it doesn't count. They have to have been sent out from MSP. For the women,
I'm sorry.
the field ministers right now for women are those who have finished their AA. Just because we had to kind of make some wiggle room right there, but they have graduated with that AA and are working on their VA. And that is all happening at MCIW. A clerk can be, and again, any faith, any religion can go to the seminaries. They do not have to be Baptist, they do not have to be Christian. Clerks do not have to have the degree. It can be anybody that you feel like is a great fit to come work in the chaplain's office and to work for you. So that's the difference, is to be a field minister, they have to have finished the degree from Parchman while incarcerated with us, or for women at MCIW while incarcerated with us, anyone else would be considered a clerk.
Sorry about talking while you was talking, I heard. So y'all heard what she said? 'Cause that's a, and again, it's on the page. So it won't be a mistake, and I'm gonna tell you what I mean by that. And she right. I remember they had a guy, I forgot his name, they called him preacher. So he had a degree from another seminary. And he felt like, hey, I'm a field minister. And they had a chaplain who was kind of like, you know, anointing him as a field minister. No, my brother, that's not what policy actually says. And so what I would suggest, when you have a situation like that, there's a wiggle room that we have put here. That person works for you as a clerk, because he's familiar with religious stuff, but you don't put him in a situation where you call him field minister. I think we had those issues, we talked about it, and it was in two different places. So this is why this is important. I want y'all to understand that. So even with your superintendents, if you know what the policy has said and what we put out, you won't have a situation where one guy writes him and says, I have a background in biblical studies and I have a degree, and then he says, give the guy a job as a field minister, right? No. And you can talk. It's not, I'm not telling you give it to the superintendent. They don't know this, so what your job is, we're gonna get into that, because this is for the directors and for chaplains. Some things you need to know. Superintendent is not familiar with chaplaincy policy. So as a chaplain, it's your job when he calls down is to actually know policy, right? And be familiar with this, so you can help him. Because a lot of times, he's just saying, okay, give him a job, because he fit the description. That's what they're gonna do. Then you have to go back and say, hey, he may fit the description, this is what the commissioner actually said, and then you say, but he can be a clerk, right? And so this part, I will tell you, don't deviate from this. This is where we get in trouble at, right? And when you explain it to the people, they're gonna look at this, and guess one of the things they're gonna see? This is the very fact. Once you start talking about these guys who call field ministers, they actually graduated from the seminary. It helps them understand that, okay, you're not just getting any old body to say he's the pastor. He actually has been trained. He's been through a 4-year degree. And so it helps them where they're like, all right, I feel more comfortable going in the situation. And guess what they still gonna do? And some of them gonna do this, and it's a good thing, because I believe in our guys. They're gonna go right there and challenge and say, I wanna find out if you actually know. Now, the sad part about it, sometimes you may have a couple guys, I always say this, you need to check and see if you really did graduate. But most of our guys, I'm saying that because they do have some guys that have different belief systems, and sometimes they come out when they talk. Most of our guys are very sharp, and you'll see on the next page. And I'm going through this like this page by page, so I want you to look at it. I say, serving the church staff, leadership and members. They talk about discipline of church staff and leadership, mentoring the church. What you doing with this page, it's kind of helping them understand what you actually can do as an adopted church, what you bring to the table, rich knowledge of years of experience. But they got some ministers from this church. They come and they set up leadership meetings with our pastors that I'm talking about. It's lovely to sit there and see them in a pastoral meeting. And it'll help you. So most chaplains, you try to have meetings or devotions with your field ministers. Well, the church can come in, they sit down and they help train them, help them give them experience that they don't have. And it's gonna assist you because you're gonna have a line that they can look at and say, this is a new ministry that you have. More personal, more intimate. And so because you gotta actually challenge what they're actually doing. So this is the challenge. So if a person is really, like the master was sitting there looking, man, what is your motive? Are you coming in to lead somebody in a relationship with Christ? Or are you just coming in to pat yourself on the back and say, I went to prison and I shared the gospel? Which one you coming to do? Because if you coming in to make sure this person has a relationship with the Lord, part of that is sitting down and building a relationship with a person and sharing your views and laying on side of them and saying, not literally laying on side, this is the counseling term, but saying, I'm gonna sit here with you and use my life as I walk with the Lord. And we're gonna discuss together, we brothers. And so when you talk to them like that, most people gonna get that religious wall that they have concerning prison and realize that everybody, what the Bible says, we all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. That's gonna come ringing in their ears. When you start actually dealing with them about the stuff that they're doing, that hey, look, what you really doing for? What is your motive? And it makes that wall come down, all right? But you gotta go through it. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to go through it. That's a big part. And so, they even have on this section, again, right here, potential needs, right, that we need from you. Y'all see the page? Y'all see it? Weekly and monthly. Y'all see that right there? Involvement. So you got some churches, they was only coming in, preaching and leading. But now when you talk about adopted churches, they get a whole scope of what the church chaplain department do. We got Malachi there, we got Celebrate Recovery. This is led by the field ministers. You can come in and be a facilitator. You can come in weekly now instead of one day and actually be involved in real hands-on ministry, right? When you talking like that, well, they got a PowerPoint ready? All right, so we're gonna get through this part right in your mind. All right, then it says right here, another good page. So all this to help you, you really just go through this pack. Do's and don'ts, right? Now, this is stuff that I knew some of us, you know, everybody different. So, one of the things I did when I first came in office, see this stuff right here? Policy. A lot of us, you know, we just got the job, we don't actually go look this up. This is to keep you safe, right? And so what I would suggest you do before you even do a training, get familiar with all the policies concerning the chaplain part. Also, all the policies concerning how volunteers are supposed to respond when they come in. Get familiar with yourself, right? That way, when you're dealing with somebody, you know exactly what they're supposed to do, what they're not supposed to do. So when you're in training, you know how to highlight everything in this package. Instead of doing this here, you ain't gonna want to read all of this.
The policies in short page.
Yeah, all right. Thank you. I think this, and it's also, all right, yeah. So, in the back, it's the stuff that we gotta get them to sign, right?
Yeah, so the back has got all the forms in it, but then also there is a page that's policies in short, so
Yeah.
that you don't have to sit and read the entire policy. I was telling them if there's somebody that likes to read policy, here you go, and I gotta give it to you. But then it's just like a few sentences, so you can roll through those policies pretty quick.
And so basically, what I'm telling you is that's how I kind of go through the way I do mine. I highlight, I get to the part of my policy, I make sure I focus on what's very important to them, and I give it to them. Because when you give it to them, they got it. Now, it's their decision not to read it. But you say, look, I'm gonna go through this, I'm gonna make sure you know this is what you need to read, and y'all please make them sign their paperwork, because that's gonna be important, and especially when it's time for you to tell them they can't come back into the facility. And why? It's gonna make your job easier. So chaplains, I'm gonna say this to y'all while we're here. Y'all understand that?
So the churches that are in the facility already, that have been there, information I got from, Mr. Kane was to tell them that we appreciate them working there, and doing their volunteering, but Now, the field ministers are gonna basically run the churches, and which, like you said, there should be no church that has an outside pastor in a pulpit. Is that correct?
And so,
All right, how do I get them out?
so this is, I'm gonna go back to that.
Huh?
I'm gonna go back to that point. And so I touched on, I'm gonna be clear so you can get it. So what happens is, once you go over, what I would do, this is me, if I was a chaplain and I'm in this training, what I would first think about, all my volunteers need to come back and do a retraining. One, that's the first thing I do. When I get back, everybody that comes to my institution, I'm gonna cover all my bases by saying, I'm gonna bring you all in. And two, what I would do is, I would talk to those churches that have been coming in and having their own church service. And what I would say to them is this is what you're gonna have to do. If you wanna have a church service, if that's what you wanna do, you have to find one of these local churches, all field ministers, to team up with, to adopt that church. And what y'all do is discuss a schedule where that field minister yields that service over to you for that day. And sometimes, when you say that, they're gonna say, well, I would just not wanna do that because I don't wanna yield my service over to a field minister. If they tell you that, you say thank you for your service. That's what the commission was talking about. They say that they tell you that they don't wanna submit under the leadership of our guys who are in prison and team up with them. That's when you tell them thank you for your service, thank you for your time. But I would tell you first, I would go through a new training and have those discussions with those volunteers. Because most of them, they may at first go ahead and do it. They may do that. See what she did? But as you sit down as a chaplain and look at it and say, okay, what is the real purpose of you coming? Why are you here? What's your motive? Is your motive to actually grow the kingdom? Because most churches, that's what they're gonna tell you. They coming in, and some of them, what you're gonna find is, they ain't coming to grow the kingdom. They coming for one reason. To say, I went into the prison and I preached the gospel. They're not worrying about the person saved or not. Because we talking about religion right now, so I'm sorry for those who do not want to hear this, but I'm talking about child so they can know. So if you find that person, what I would say to you, I wouldn't give it a second thought. You know, thank you for your service, thank you for your time. At this time, right now, I don't think we have a good partnership. We don't know what I'm. That's all I say. But I'm saying to you, most churches, I'm gonna even say 97% of them, when you actually have the conversation and you lay out the plan that is right there, it may be a change, but they'll say, you know what? So that means I can actually know that the guys are actually growing and being discipled. I wanna join that. That's what they'll tell you, if their motive is right. Now, if it's not, if it's all about them coming in and practicing, because that's what I call it. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm gonna tell y'all, some of the people that come in to preach, that's what they're doing. They practice. They can't preach in their church, so they come and practice on the guys in them. So if you got a person that's practicing, you tell them, look, they got other places you can go, the homeless shelter. They got a tree that's right out there. You can go out there and practice and preach to the tree. But you're not gonna come here. So I know that might sound bad, but that's the truth of the matter. I'm just giving it to you, so you can know. But I would, when I leave here, I would contact my volunteer base and say, listen, we're gonna have a big training. And we're gonna go over the new policy. We're gonna make sure we're all on the same page. Even if you did it before, just call me. I don't tell you, MSP, I'm actually telling you, I think y'all need to do it again. Right, because it hadn't been done. So I think y'all need to call all those people and do it. And even when you have outside guests. And so let's kind of go over this because it's gonna help some of our challenges. So the commissioner's theme concerning people that wanna come in and preach, they would tell you. You have people coming in from everywhere, all part of the state. So if you in Jackson, let's just use this. It's a church in Jackson. So they say, I wanna come preach at CMCL, right? It's a big church. You got a decision to make, right? Your decision is you can say, out of every 10 churches that ask, I can say no and utilize one. And he tell you to be wise, and I shared this with Chaplain Kelly. Out of every one, you use your gut and say, okay, I'm gonna let this ministry come in and minister. What I would do is, I would look for people from that are out of state to come in. Because the people that are here, you can bring them through volunteer and say, hey, come and join what we doing. If they're local, and they don't wanna join what you're doing, but they wanna come in, and I would say it again, practice. Well, I'm not a facility that I want you to practice at. But they got some big ministries, they just wanna come in, and they got some events that you gonna have, like Mississippi Mass Choir, right? That's somebody that's not gonna come in your facility every week. They gonna come in one time, it's a blessed individual. Sure, you invite them, that's because they going all over the world. And you got some of these churches that are real big, that they don't have time to actually come to prison, but they're chosen to say, look, we're gonna come in, we're gonna bless, and let you got the decision to make. That's your decision. I would tell you, out of every 10 people that ask you, the one, and I would choose, this me personally, if I was the director, I would choose one that's out of state. Because I feel like if you right here, you can come team in with us and work with us as a ministry and join us. Y'all understand that? Right. I'm talking about chaplains, y'all get that. Y'all ain't saying that, y'all.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't have any churches running a show by themselves.
So if you're doing that, today is the day that you've been told, right? So if that's what's going on, and I'm gonna tell you something, this is what I know about this. I know what's going on. Know why? The field ministers, they write me, they tell me. So I'm just giving you an opportunity today to get that right. So when you go back, we all been told, right? So it's fair game, that's all I'm saying. Y'all understand that?
Are you saying none of the churches that come into the prison are to have a private service?
No.
Apart from.
I'm gonna say it again, because I wanna be clear on this. I don't want you to put words in my mouth. You need to be very careful who you choose to come in and have a private service. And what I mean by that, if you got somebody that's low, this is what I'm talking about, that just use this. Say this church right here. If they were to ask me, hey, we wanna have a private service, and they right down the street, you know what I'll tell them? I'll bring their attention that we had a volunteer meeting at your church. I ask you to join in, and this time, this is what we're doing. You either wanna join in what we're doing, or at this time, I decline you all. Now, if you got a church, let's say Wheaton College wants to come in, hold a service, they way in Chicago, guess what you said? Yes, know why? They way up there, you know they're not coming just to practice. They coming to actual, because they're a heart for ministry. And I need y'all to understand why I'm saying this. Just think about it. The people that are right here, if they're at a heart for ministry, what we laid out, they'll want to come in because I just showed you there are several opportunities for them to come in and help out at the institution. And not just this right here. I just want to come in, I'm going to give a word, and I'm leaving. No. Man, I'm being simple to you, but it's way.
But one way that a lot of the churches that I've worked with in this area have received it better is when I shift gears on them from just a service to think about when you have a death in your family and your pastor comes or someone from your church shows up. If you're coming in once a week, you don't know when that person who's in the congregation in the prison has a death and you can't just show up. But by the only churches that are existing in the prison are ones that are led by field ministers.
They want them every day.
They can show up at morning, noon, and night. They can show up 24 hours a day and pastor their congregation. So you're coming alongside to encourage those guys and those ladies and help them pastor their congregation in the same way you would yours on the outside. And if you are outside coming in, you cannot pastor or shepherd the congregation. Just to use all that religious words that they're gonna get, you can't shepherd the people
from outside
the gate.
And listen, that's the perfect example. Because now you let them know if it's strictly about ministry, we talking about pastoral ministry. It's no pastor that's gonna turn and say, you know what? I see them guys as an asset to me because now, you know what? I'm gonna pour into them so they can pour into these guys because I really want them to come out to our community and actually do it, especially if they local. If they from around that place, they should be saying, I want them to make sure, I want to support everything they doing, so when that person gets out and he's my neighbor, I know they right. So you gotta talk their language, right? Don't let them practice on it. That's all I'm saying. I know it might sound funny, but that's what's going on. They practice. Because if they were serious, it wouldn't be a question. Just think about it. It wouldn't be a question because they'll be like, you know what? Man, this is a blessing. You telling me they got a pastor on site 24 hours a day, that I can come in and he's gonna be able to inform me or come in and sit down and share ideas, and I can be more impactful. We can have fellowship meals, we can do the same stuff that we're doing out there to reach our communities. You telling me they got that inside the prison, and that person doesn't wanna work with that, I'm gonna just tell you that's what they're doing in practice. And I think we all should know that, especially those who are chaplains. Outside of that, you know, if that's not your field of expertise, you might not know that. Any other questions concerning that?
In reference to, I understand the point that you're saying about the local, them coming, laboring amongst what we're already doing. You made reference to the one out of state.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be clear, so the one out of state, do they still, like may come once a month? Do they still, when they're coming in to do, or wanna do ministry or service? Or if they run, or they still got, or the guidelines still applies to them?
So guidelines apply, but I'm saying to you, what I suggest you should do is out of every one, I told you 10, you select one. And guess what I think? I'm just telling y'all, even with them, this is what you do to them. You run a mini volunteer training and tell them, because listen, I hate to say it, those might be the same major players to support you versus a person that's local. You take a place like I call Wheaton College. You come in, you tell them what your church is doing, local, guess what they're gonna do? So I don't know, some of y'all may have not been impacted by this. So there's a church that this every year since we've been here, y'all probably heard of Willow Creek. Anybody ever heard of the biggest church in Chicago? Well, I'm connected with them. Every year they do a prison pack. Since I've been here, they've been sending bags every Christmas. They just sent me a number saying, let me know how many more prisons that we can go into, right? So that church has never asked to come have a service. All they want to know is what we're doing and how can they join in. How many of y'all ever read Experience in God as a chaplain? What does it say? Let me see where he working and join in. And they say, let me see where he working and go have a church service. I'm not trying to be funny, I'm just telling you what it is. I mean, you got to, this helping you. Because this is why I said we here for the train and nip some stuff in the bud. And so I'm just helping you how to deal with people. When you talk to them, this is the language you need to use. I'm gonna show you what God is doing. Now, do you actually wanna participate what God is doing? Or do you want to have your own agenda? And if you wanna have your own agenda, well, so thank you, God bless you, and I hope you have a great opportunity with your own agenda, because I know that's gonna get you.
So these groups that you're talking about coming in, they wouldn't have to have all of this.
No, when you dealing with people that's coming in for one time, that's from out of state, what you wanna do is, you wanna share what y'all doing, you wanna talk about the field, you wanna talk about the adopted churches, you wanna kinda go over the rules, cause trust me, even when they coming in, they still need to know the rules of the facility. So you wanna condense all that in one. You might wanna do a one-page summary of everything that you have right there. And so, kinda have that in your pocket where you can say, hey, before y'all come in, you might wanna stop them in the front and just give it to them.
The groups coming in, are we, as the chaplaincy department, supposed to approve them, or can they just call somebody and say, look, we wanna come, and then suddenly now, they tell me they're coming? Not them, but others.
See, you trying to catch me to catch me.
I'm
I like
just
that.
saying.
Look, be sharp. You been sitting there waiting, you been holding that question. I got something for you, you been talking. Wow. So let me just answer that. You definitely have some people that are guests of the commissioner that, hey, I just get a call and say, let them in, right? I don't know what y'all do about that, but the commissioner tell me, look, TBN is coming in. What you gonna say? Oh, they can't come in, they gotta go through volunteer training. And so in that situation, I would tell you as a chaplain what you're supposed to do.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what I will say, outside of that, you are the one supposed to approve. You still gotta do your job, even when they come in as a chaplain, you still need to do your job. But when they have special guests, and that's what we talking about, right? I wanna get this straight. When we have special guests that have been sent from administration, all right, sent from the power that be down there, what do you do?
Yes.
Huh?
You say yes.
Okay, so we all, that's not a misunderstanding right there.
But within the compound, or within the facility, somebody wants their brothers.
Oh, no,
church,
oh, no,
or
sir.
friends.
No.
Come on now.
That no. If that's what you doing, I'm telling you no.
It's one of your 10 that you get to pick one of.
You can't have a, look, I'm just being straight up with you. In that situation, you are correct. When you say, oh, no, sir, no, not doing it. God bless them. God keep them, and they can go bless somebody else today, but not here. That's gonna fall on you.
Excuse me, do you have any three companies?
Yeah, they come off.
What is the policy?
They don't come, we actually have the application that they send. They don't actually come to the prison.
Yeah, White, he's actually come and his primary goal is to do the application of less one. Show a PowerPoint and maybe do a little small service.
And again, it falls on the same agenda. He's coming in and he's doing something to benefit what you're doing, right? You got a decision to make. It's a one-time event, all right? And so I'm telling y'all to use this training wisely, right? And so I want y'all to understand it, that listen, it's still on your call. I'm telling you, that's what you're gonna have to do. You're gonna have to decipher. You have to display, this is what we're doing across the state. Now, do you wanna join in? I'm simply talking to you from that perspective. If they wanna join in, whether it's a one-time join in, that they come in and they make sure our inmates are taken care of, and that's something they wanna do once a year, hey, that's fine. That right there is fine. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Everybody clear, right?
We had an entry on, SMCI 2 weeks ago. He came, he showed up a video, and he helped them fill out the form. That's what he wanted to do, make sure they really
Hey,
fill out the
is
form.
that Dale White?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you probably gonna go to Eastern, that's okay. So are we okay concerning everything that's been discussed? Everybody understand? Our directors, have you heard that message? Y'all have? Y'all okay with that? Everybody okay with that? You have heard? Okay. Watch, you heard that? Alright. So the next thing, recreation. Now I'm moving on to our actual, this is the part, and I hate to say some chapters. Y'all want to be sitting through this. This is strictly for our program directors. So they know concerning the facilities. So they have, well, we kind of talk, we just go through the chapters and part to kind of talk about some of the stuff that happens that you need to know that's on your watch. I'm speaking to the directors at this time, all the program directors. I know y'all ain't got y'all phone.
That's him.
Okay. So listen, this is another thing I'm big on, being a professional at all times. All right, so let's just be understanding that. Because look, at this level, all of us in here, y'all represent me at this time until they take this job from me. And that's one of the problems I'm having right now. So I'm gonna be flat out with y'all. Some of y'all need to know, one of the reasons why we having this training is because we have a problem. Y'all know one of our biggest problems we have is that every time they have a meeting, everybody has done something different. And guess who get pointed at? Me. It's like I didn't tell none of y'all anything. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna get it together today. Y'all understand that? And so stuff like that, having your phone on, we on the job, having it on ring. Why should we do that? Anybody? Tell me. I know y'all can do it. I'm actually being serious, like, because what happens is, I'm gonna tell y'all what happens. I get calls from superintendents concerning the job that you hold, whether you're a chaplain, whether you're a director, and they always talk about why they're not doing this, why they're not doing that, and I'm sitting there saying, man, God knows. Some of the stuff I don't even understand when I hear what they're saying.
Sometimes they don't have conversation with us to know what we learned at the training, first of all, and they jump the gun and call y'all.
But sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. But there's times, like that situation right there, everybody should know, please put the phone on silent, on vibrate. We should all do that, right? Some little small stuff that we should know. We all should, right? I'm using that to say, hey, that's not out of frustration, but they got some stuff that I think some of us all should know. All right, so let's just look at this stuff. We're gonna get through the day whether we be mad at each other when we leave. We're gonna be happy when it's over. We're gonna have a good understanding. So chaplaincy, my directors, this is stuff that you need to be aware of, but please trust your director. All right, and so some of us, it's our style of leadership, right, that we're gonna have to work on. And so I got a director that I'm speaking to, I normally supervise. What I had to do is say, hey, I'm gonna trust you to do your job, all right? And I think for the most part, for me, I don't call y'all every day. In fact, when the last time we had one of those, y'all remember those weekly meetings y'all used to have? Y'all remember that? We ain't had that because I'm sitting there saying, I'm trusting y'all to do what? I'm not the type of individual. So I hope I'm gonna talk about this, but it's a part of your supervisor role and your supervisor skills and how you do it is gonna be important from this point on. And so as a director, as the program director, because we're gonna talk about, this is very important, I think, and I told this to the commissioners that the job description should have been very clear about the program director position. So I was the first one that actually gave that covering to actually say you supervise all the programs in the facility, inside the facility. It made everybody downtown mad. One of them here right now, you know, we got a good relationship now, but she wanted to throw a couple uppercuts under my chin when it first happened. But what happened is it didn't translate to those who got those jobs now. So what we're gonna do is kind of discuss what your role is in the institution. And so your role is not to say, so like you're program director. The chaplain department may fall up under you, but you're not the person that directs the chaplain department. What you do is you checks and balances. Hey, let's make sure we're communicating on things that's going on at the facility. Let the director be the director. And what you do is from this point, you say, okay, I need to make sure when things are falling down to me, that I fall down to them, and that they know what they're doing, and that I'll let them lead. And I have meetings with them. How many of y'all have program meetings throughout the month or weekly with your staff? That's gonna be an issue. And so when I got this job, one of the things I did, and I'm gonna stop right here, because guess what? This is probably why we're having a problem. One thing is, remember I talked to y'all about teams? Y'all remember that? So you're only good as your teammate, right? So look, this is what I'm gonna do for y'all. This is going off of what I said I was gonna talk about. And cause this is the only way I think we can see it. So CMCF, I can't use nobody else. When I got there, they had very little stuff going on, right? Really, I'm actually being nice. So what I did, I'm a boards person. They don't have a board in here, so I wrote and strategized a plan on how to get things done. And I was sitting there saying, man, I still got a bunch of disgruntled people. How in the world I can get these people on board with me? Because I realized they don't want me to be their supervisor. At the time, someone was getting paid more than me. So you know somebody getting paid more than you, they feel like you can't tell me nothing. I make more than you. How you gonna tell me something? I don't care if you're my supervisor or not. Y'all know that, right? Right. Y'all been working here a little while, so some of y'all understand some of the stuff I had to go through. And so I'm sitting there saying, how can I get everybody on the same page that we can actually get this big vision done? So I did, I had a program team meeting, right? And so I called people that I felt like that was gonna be on the team. This is how you gotta look at it. What is programs? Alcohol and drugs, it's a program, right? Vocational school is a program. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Y'all know all this? So I took all those people and I brought them in the challenge department, brought them in, boom. You get to the meeting, we talking, you got people I know sitting there, they just grown as all I do. And I just put the department name on the board. This thing, you was in there, right? Remember that? Some of this stuff you supposed to already know, because you was in there. You had an example. So I put the chapel department on it. And I put here, on top of it. Put here, put the chapel department. I put the recreation department. I put the vocation department. I put every program we had in the facility and put their names. Then over here, I wrote the word there on this side. And what I had over here, is I wanted to show them what we was gonna do on this side, or on this side of heaven, as they say, this side. But I first dealt with something that all of us should deal with. So we're gonna be able to do this stuff and say, okay, I'm gonna call everybody in and we're gonna talk to each other. And I say, hey, as a chaplain department, the last 5 years, what have you done? It's like, just tell me some things that you're doing, some great stuff. Let's write it on the board and see where we at, right? And so everybody got up. And I said, give yourself a grade after you finish. Everybody. Now mind you, I just told you, when I got the facility, what I said, they didn't have much more. In fact, I'm gonna just give you one example. Pre-release. Pre-release, I already had this, I said that, let's put her head up like, you know what, I wish you would bring it up. So what happened was she was in the meeting, but one of her people was in the meeting, and I knew this from this study, because that's the kind of stuff, that's the kind of person I am. I went look and seen what people was doing. So they had 360 people that did not receive pre-release, and they was behind, it was in the hole. So I had already came up with a plan, but the only way I could give you the plan, what I had to get from you. Buy-in, right? You ain't gonna buy in if you don't like what I'm saying. If you feel like what you're doing is right, you're not gonna buy in. So I knew going in, the only way I can get this person to see that the 360 won't be reached unless we do something about it, is I gotta show that you have to change what you're doing. That means they're here. So we put a grade up there. To be honest. All right, God bless you. See, y'all know when a person do it more than 3 times, that's they done for their blessings for the day. Some of that stuff is for me. Don't say bless me, you don't tell me. You gotta say bless me. They trying to get away with it. You say bless me. When they sneeze again, that's for your blessing. So I wrote it on a board. Now I'm gonna tell you something. They had some very honest people. They were on the board, and I think they was only honest because they figured out something. That's me. Now y'all wrong for that. How y'all not change y'all philosophy? Y'all theology change that fast. Tell that woman bless her when she slow. That's how it's all right, so anyway, I wrote it on the board, right? And you had the chaplain department wrote their grade, the pre-release department wrote their grade, the vocation department wrote their grade, A&D wrote their grade. Every place that we had wrote a grade up there. And I said to them, I said, listen, let's look at this for what it really is. Can we stay here like that? Can we really stay right here? And I ain't gonna expose the grade, but I asked him, I said, man, as a professional, as a person that's coming in, and part of your job to help you, can we stay right there with those grades? Everybody at that time, no. And I said, well, look, since we know we can't stay right there, and we trying to go over here, let's figure out how to get there, right? And so I'm telling you, I would call everybody in, and call everybody that we're gonna go over what's your responsibility and who you supervise. And I would say to you, I would go before I call them in and say, you know what? Let me see exactly what's been going on at this facility. Whether it be MSP, whether it be SNCI, whether it be Warner Road, and have a team meeting. And guess what? I would have those meetings until we start seeing progress. And I'll put it back up there again. Give yourself a break. And see what we came in the gap. So the thing is, okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, and this is what y'all being judged on. Almost everything that the commissioner said he wanted was put in place at CMCI first. Everything. Clubs, the chaplains, having church. We had 5 inmate-led churches at one time, and we had 6. We had churches connected in them. Clubs were put in place, vocational school, because sometimes you gotta tell the truth. Now, one of the harsh truths, they didn't have a vocational school, but on paper, guess what they said? They did. So some stuff you just gotta be truthful about, right? And so what you do is you bring your team together. And I talked to you about this, and I'm telling you how to do it, right? You get together and you go to each department. Because if it's a program, and you're a program director, that's under your scope of supervision at the institutional level. And so you come in. What you should know is, okay, I'm looking at the chapter 6 policy, we can go through that. It says, the facility is service for all approved religious faiths. All right, that's the challenge. Death notification, the wellness. They're supposed to know that. I'm gonna tell you something, this is a fact. So say you're a program director, you're a challenge because I know how to do this stuff. You may have to get familiar with policy, right? So the chaplain may be sick or somebody may be out. Guess who gotta step up? You. And so you gotta know, okay, they got a death notification that has called in. An inmate died at 7:30 in the morning. What does the policy say about that? It's a time thing. So they died at 7:30, you got notified at 7:35. What's your next job? Now the thing is, the chaplain knows that, right? You may not. But let's say you get a call, because you at the institution, you the supervisor. And the superintendent been called and said, there's a family said that they never was notified. It's under your watch. You talk to the chaplain, he said, well, I was waiting for more information. Your responsibility at that time is to remind him of his job. Now you have to actually know it. This is some of the stuff that you talk about. Because it happens. They got stuff like this that happen. You had an inmate. His mother called and she did a wellness check. She told the chaplain to do a wellness check. Or she told someone to do a wellness check. They didn't go do it. The guy was dead. He was going home the next day. She called for somebody to go check on her son, right? Guess what happened? The ball was dropped. Now in this situation, as the program director, it's your job to decipher who dropped the ball. But if you don't know this, how can you address it? I just happen to know. So you know what I did? First thing I did, I traced actually what happened. Who took the call? What happened after they took the call? Did it ever get translated to the chaplain call? Guess what wound up happening? It was pointing. On the bottom of the notification, you know what it said? Never was able to reach the chaplain. Never. About the wellness check. So at that point, guess whose responsibility was to go do the wellness check? The person that took the call.
Right, because nobody else knows.
Now, they didn't go check. They didn't do nothing. Now here it is. That chaplain has the responsibility to call that woman. And guess what he gonna be faced with? I called.
Did you guys need this? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you might run in there. What time is it? I got that thing.
Keep on records of it.
Yeah, and that should be. So, and I ain't gonna stay too long with that, but I'm just kind of telling you in that area, there's a responsibility that you should know. And look, there's some things about that department that you kind of need to get familiar with. And so I just kind of gave you a little brief outline of death notification, wellness check following them, facilitate funeral travel and arrangements for residents, approve visitation, process all chaplaincy information and forms upon residents arrival. This stuff that you should know, because it's information you also gonna be able to use, right? So when inmates writing you concerning, oh look, I'm a Muslim and they don't want to put me on Ramadan and stuff like that. You already know that in your scope, I got a chaplain that's well versed in that. I'm gonna call and pick up the phone and just check, right? But you familiar with it, so you instantaneously you should know where to go look, right? So that's an area you should be aware of. Recreation. This is the area that, look, if you got a recreation director, this is things that you need to know. He need to be having tournaments, he need to have activities going on. So what you need from him is to always update you on what they're doing, right? And there's policies on it, so you gotta keep track of it. And so you need to have somebody. If you don't have nobody, guess what I'm doing for y'all. So if y'all don't know how to build a team, guess what about to happen? I'm identifying your team players. Recreation. Library service, yard call, DVD, sports tournaments, gym call, maintain equipment, special events, right? Y'all got a gym, that's what most of our special events. I know the women don't have it, look how they looking at it. We don't have a gym. Okay. They trying to get y'all.
Utilizing what we have, but.
Utilize what y'all have, that's why I
It's
asked
on
you.
our board because it's time.
All right, we're gonna get to that, but I gotta hurry up and get through this. So listen, so just now, what I just did, I pointed out somebody y'all need to have at y'all table. A recreation person. So let's say you don't have one. right? You don't have a recreation director. You may need to go to the superintendent and say, can I get a contract for a recreation director to handle all of our stuff? But we got some stuff coming out. Everybody supposed to have a boxing team. Across the state, they're only gonna have, November is gonna be the first match. I bet you if I ask some of these directors, I say, hey, y'all got a boxing team? Marshall, y'all got a boxing team? Wanna go, y'all got a boxing team? SCI, y'all got a boxing team? That's a good answer.
We got one.
Well, I know, but we,
Yeah, we
that's,
got one, you can start.
yeah, you're right. So now look, some of this stuff is gonna be directly on me, right here. You know why? Being clear, that's why I'm going through it. So y'all need to have a basketball team, a baseball team, a boxing team. So when we doing traveling tournaments, that you represent your facility. So you need to have a boxing team, and just understand, me as a person, I'm passionate about stuff like that. So I'm letting you know right now, CMCF, when I was director, we are the champions. So all other facilities, I need y'all to bow down in this moment, because we the champions. SCI, Marshall, MSP was supposed to be the top, they lost. They went down like the Titanic. So the trophy is at CMCF. Boxing is coming up. November 16th will be the very first boxing match. And so after that, we're gonna announce that each person need to have, so I'm telling you now, when you leave here, what you need to put out is a flyer and get your boxing equipment. Right, you need to get a boxing ring, you need to get boxing equipment. This is why it's important that you, guess what? You hire somebody for recreation. You put a recreation person on your team. But if you stay, you might need to get a sergeant. They need to be recreation. Y'all understand that?
Are ladies included?
No, ma'am.
Ah.
No, ma'am.
I wanna see CMCF so bad. Give me their best 10. Give me CMCF
So
best
look,
10
they
against
got
us.
2 women's prisons, so it ain't like we can't do it.
That's it. Give me your best 10.
I mean, that's what y'all wanna do. Y'all submit a proposal concerning that. I think we probably.
We do our boxing in the dorm. So many protesters at the front gate.
Yeah, it definitely will. I don't wanna be a part of that type of stuff.
We'll
just take the basketball, so.
Let me keep on going for y'all start some.
What if the superintendent says no to boxing?
He not. He not. All I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna say it like this. My job is to give y'all information. I'm gonna tell you like this. When we start November the 14th, when y'all hear this, remember I said this. Every prison is supposed to have a boxing team. Every prison is supposed to have a traveling basketball team. So when you, this is what I'm gonna tell y'all something that I ain't never told nobody else. Cause this is the big confusion about my name. So when I tell people stuff, this is what happens. Oh, that's just him. He just putting that stuff out there. I'm gonna give y'all the secret. So y'all will know. And when people get in trouble, when they get messed up with me, is I tell you something, I stand here and tell you something. Guess what I'm telling you? So I ain't one of them people that hit you with, Bishop said this, Bishop said that. I'm basically saying it because I want you to hear me say it. And if you choose to not do it, this is what I think happens in this moment. I'm not gonna come back and tell you, hey, you know I want to told you that Bishop said, I'm not one of those people. I'm sorry. I feel like you should already understand, if I'm standing here telling you this right here, I'm not just making this stuff up to be making it up. So I'm saying to you, to answer your question, if your superintendent don't want to have a boxing team, amen, God bless his soul, I'm telling you what I was told. So now y'all situation is totally different. So they might, because y'all a disciplinary camp, they might need to have a little discussion about that. But
let me ask you, the boxing, is it full-fledged boxing with no headgear, or are they gonna need the headgear?
so the first couple fights that you're gonna see we have, they're gonna be called novice fights. So they're gonna have headgear, they're gonna have stuff like, they're gonna be 2 minute rounds. I mean, two minute rounds, it'll be 3 rounds, 2 minutes. Then after they actually have their 3 novice fights, all the institutions are gonna have opportunity. We're not gonna just put them right there and just start fighting for them. Now, each institution will have an opportunity to have an actual champion in different weight classes. All that stuff's gonna be laid out for you. We have an actual board already that we're gonna have, and what it's gonna be a person from each institution, probably one of y'all superintendents or warden that's gonna sit on that board. We're gonna make a discussion before November, how many weight classes that we're gonna have, and we definitely gonna be talking about safety, because you gotta sign a waiver. So those things will be handled, again, each institution. This is your job to do as a director. Put it out there. Sign up. Mr. Lake, you're talking for the women, so all I'm gonna say to you, there has to be a proposal. He has not told me to start a women's basketball team. Notice I didn't say nothing about that. Notice how I put that. He ain't told me that, so I ain't say nothing about it. I'm just saying, he ain't said nothing about the women, that's all. So now y'all looking over there, cause she said, she challenged y'all, that's what she said.
No, we're just trying to get clarity. You're saying every prison, but you mean every men's prison?
Yes, he has not specifically said women, cause we never actually had a women's boxing team.
Well, we already know how the women feel.
That they want box.
They want basketball,
They
they
hear
want
about men got
soccer.
something, they
They
want
have-
something.
So we can have those tournaments. I'm just saying boxing, that's something that I would ask y'all to do. Oh, yes, they put their tournaments between the two.
Okay, and we will be allowed to
Yes,
travel
yes,
back and
ma'am.
forth.
Yes, ma'am.
So do we still need to make a proposal for basketball and baseball, or is it automatic?
Only proposal I think y'all need to make is for the tournaments, y'all just call and say, look, we having a tournament, because that's what I did. I had tournaments. We played, matter of fact, we beat the person that she owed me now, you know, from when she lost, when she was, awarded another facility. So y'all just have to get, y'all two need to go at it, I guess, y'all two, or y'all three, whatever, and figure out that situation now. Faith-based programs, these are things you need to know about, just consider this here, field ministers, faith-based classes, MBA churches, counseling, assistant to child department. We kind of talk about that. I think this is the one we're going through. I'm just going through everything that's under the challenge department, under the program department. All right, so social evidence-based program. Anybody know why I say that? Because you got people that come up with stuff all the time that says a program. Y'all ever seen somebody say, oh, I got this program already, great idea, they say it's a program. So what we wanna do is have evidence-based books that say this is a good program, all right? Not just something somebody just came with, say, I got tongue control, I think people need to maybe the tongue control because they make them bored when he's bored, you need to remember that. That's not a program, not that. We talking about stuff like victim awareness. They got several books about victim awareness. Several books about addiction. Celebrate Recovery is one. A&D is one. Those are evidence-based programs. Y'all might think I'm lying. There's another evidence-based program concerning drug dealer anonymous. Y'all probably say that. I have never seen that before, but they are. And so as a program director, what you look to do is part of the job is developing and implementing programs in the institution. Right? And so you want to look for evidence-based programs, such as our faith-based programs that are called spiritual growth that came from NMBTS. They started the Providence Learning Center, had a certificate program that was called spiritual growth. And in that, they got evidence-based books. In the Mind of Christ, Experiencing God, Survival Kit. These are books that are based on research that they use for discipleship. Right? Everybody understand that? All right, vocational school and academics. This is to me, I would have said, if you had a running mate as a program director, what I would say, the best running mate you can have is the vocational director or the education. I think they gave them new names. I don't know the new name. Sarah might know the new name.
People ask me my title all the time.
You don't never tell them.
I don't know what it is. I get wrong every time I say.
So what I would do is, whoever's over education, if I was you, I was the program director, I'll merge the relationship. That's your person that you run with. That's gonna make your programs look better, right? And so, testing, vocational certificates, equipment, all these things should be under your spectrum as a director, right? And so when I be calling y'all sometime, I be talking about, give me those numbers, y'all remember that? Y'all be drawing me on the bus with the falsified documents? Y'all don't say it like that. Y'all hit me with the numbers that don't match? Some of y'all know y'all be doing that, but I understand, because sometimes I get confused because you got multiple inmates taking several different things. And so we're gonna work on a better system. I'm proposing that we don't never have no problem with this because they got a system that the inmates already have the ID. Y'all see the inmate ID? It has those barcodes. But there's a system that wherever the inmate goes, it'll print a data sheet. If he goes to school, when he SWAT, if he in GED, they're gonna show how many times he went to GED. If he go to auto mechanics, they're gonna show he SWAT. It's gonna show he's an auto mechanic, right? And so all the familiar with that program, so I'm proposing that we go to that. So guess what? We don't have a problem knowing what. We gonna know exactly who went and what programs we have, because it's gonna produce a data sheet. It's also gonna produce something else, a count sheet, because some of our people can't count. Right? And so when we have programs later on in the evening, church program, where the inmate goes to church and they can't figure out where the inmate is at, where he's in church. The data sheet gonna show, so it'll help them count. So I'm working on that now to see if the commissioner will actually buy that program, because we have the IDs already. But that's a problem that we have. One of those things we're gonna discuss later on, but I'm just going through who should be at your table, because this is your area that you should have. The centipede. Notice I brought this young lady that's right here. Right on this side, Ms. Anderson. Some of y'all may know her, some of y'all may not. Some of y'all may be familiar that y'all send her certain documents that have something to do with something else. But she has got to the point where she understands the centipede process, right? And so I got her here because I want her to probably share a brief moment about the centipede. But I'm just gonna go over this. Everybody here should have somebody trained in their facility, especially if you're a program director, about the centipede. And so this is a catch. This is what we get caught up at. When I say falsifying documents, that's the word that the commissioner used to me when I submit y'all paperwork. This is what he go over. So I'll send some of y'all documents to him, and then guess what he gonna look at? How many people getting paid? So he going off the fact that you got students that not getting paid. You got people that's on the job not getting paid. So one of your numbers, you'll say, I got 15 people in college, right? But on the center roster, guess what they got? Two or zero. So to him, that number is inaccurate. Because y'all understand what I'm talking about? I want y'all to get the picture. Now I'm not saying everybody's doing something wrong, but I'm just telling you, we gotta get all on the same page, because this falls upon us. So you got 15 people that are in coverage, but only 2 of them are staffed in. And then you turn a number in and say, I got 15 people. And so then your center pay roster says, you only got 2. Which one you think they're gonna go with? Because they're looking at it, if you're correct, they should be getting paid. Right? Have y'all all heard y'all superintendent argue about that they gotta start turning reports come Monday, every Monday? Y'all know why they're saying that? I'm explaining to you now. Now I'm telling you, look, I just told you I'm trying to get a solution by doing it when we don't have a problem. But the solution to this is, you got to have somebody else right there. You need to have a person like her who's familiar with case management, familiar with defender services, because she can go in and check to see if the inmates been staffed in and they actually in the class or in what we call work program. Y'all seen it on? How many of y'all familiar with Fender Trap? Now if you ain't, do like I did. Say years and get somebody to train you. Now look, offender train, I went to hell because I actually did something there. I got a good memory. Some of y'all might not know that I do. So the issue is they tested me on the offender track, and guess what they had this on. They knew I didn't have access to it, but they couldn't argue. I knew what I was talking about. I didn't have the access to look at the stuff they had, but I knew. So this is what I'm telling you. You need to know where to go, but you need to have a small person to take care of you. All right? Now I knew. They had me on the phone and said, all right, tell me when you go for this. I just knew because I remember somebody else doing it. So I played like I was on that with them. You want to be crazy? All right, cool. I'm in front of the computer, you in front of one too. I'm seeing it right here, you see. I see, go right here. And I'm telling y'all, so y'all ever say this, I know it came from this. I passed that test. And he had a whole week behind it. Remember that?
When you come to this, you better be trained up.
Oh, no. No, we're not ready.
I have a question. So, like, when I drop down with the, work program, this, I don't know about anybody else, but for us, we have 4 drop downs for the center bank. Field ministers, AD, PD, like the, VOTEC and one more, but that's like anger management class and stuff like that. So say for instance, the guys in the religious class, where I put them on, I will put them on the field minister, incentive pay, so can we get a drop down, just like maybe student incentive pay?
So they're not gonna get no. So, let's get this straight.
Okay.
There's some things you ain't gonna get paid for.
Okay,
Alright, so, I don't want you saying you paying them to go to church. No, you're not doing that.
no, I'm saying the classes,
So like Celebrate Recovery.
uh-huh,
They're not gonna get no pay for going to Celebrate Recovery. However, your person that teach that,
mhm,
the person that's your program person,
okay,
he works for you, he needs to get paid as a program, or whatever you want to call them, what they call it, instructor. Facility, he needs to get paid, and that'll cover you in that area, right? Now, I'm talking about your GED class, or all your vocational class. So the reason why I think y'all don't have folk, because y'all institution, and this is another thing, some of y'all might not know. Ms. McAfee sent out a list, she sent out an email, basically asking you, am I right about that? What's at your facility? And so, the only reason why you have folk drop down, and I'm not saying, just to tell you that's what happened. You need to report to her everything you got at your facility.
well, that's why I can't think of that fourth one, but everything, like, cause she said, whoo, y'all have so many drop downs, so like anger management, certain classes just fell under that.
Yeah, you can't. That's nothing.
Yeah.
Please hear me say this. Don't pay no student for going to anger management.
Yeah, but I'm saying like when I'm staffing them in,
Oh, yeah.
saying that they in this class, it just, she put everything, like, okay, if you're teaching anger management, she teaching inside out bad. She said, I'm not gonna have different drop downs for that, I'm just gonna put it under
Put it under
one. Yeah, so that's why we have 4.
And you just put what they're doing on the description, and the drop down, like, you put the description.
Yeah, so like, some of them like the life skill, so you can't create but one life skill, cause some of them was in there from 13. So I was trying to do another one that was like, it's already one occupied, so I just added that, life skill and just put the dates of all the programs.
So I think we talking about two different things. I want to get this straight. So the work program for incentive pay is
I got
only
it.
for facilitators and instructors.
Mhm.
What you talking about is another, that's the one me and you had, go back and forth about, is that instead of waiting on somebody to get staffed in, there's a section that you can go to start and say, this is when they started the program.
Yeah, and that's why I was telling her, like, with the life skills, so say for instance, you was at Marshall County in
Yeah.
13, and you was in this life skill program, you left and you came back this year, and I'm trying to put you in put you in another life skill program, it's gonna say that you already was in there, so I just added it and put the dates, so you can be clear on, you know, he was in this day, this, you know, this year, or
And
whatever.
you staff them at that. So all right, I see what you're saying, but just make sure when y'all go through, that y'all staff y'all people in.
Yeah.
All right, period, like students, and then the program staff them in, and what that's gonna do is, that's gonna help you, that's gonna help me, that's gonna help everybody, because this is the thing, if the case manager not staffing them in, so, this, I guess I gotta go address this too at this moment. If I know that my facility don't have case manager that's actually proactive, what do I do? Huh? Let's talk about it. What do you do?
I mean, what are we talking about? I know where we're going. What are we talking about?
So, I had this theme at CMCF, I ain't telling y'all to take it, that we hadn't came to the theme, this was a theme. We are problem solvers. Great solutions. So the thing is, we create a solution to our problem. We solve it. If we know the case managers are not staffing people in, guess what I did? I said, well, you know what I'm gonna do? And I wish Ms. Johnson was here. They gave her up and said, get rid of that woman. She ain't. And she became my best friend. Ms. Johnson was the person I went to on our staff meeting. Ms. Johnson will do this the whole while. And I used to say she going up the room. But she knew her role. Her role was staff everybody in that was in program. So what you gotta do, again, this is talking about building teams. You need to get a person, again, her former job, you don't mind stand up, kind of telling them what you used to do, so y'all can see what I'm talking about building teams.
My name is Rashowski Anderson. I was assistant director of initial classification at CMCF. I got booted out in January and I wanted to be in program. And in initial class, what we did was process every inmate that came in from the county jail, and we sent them to their permanent housing location. And I also have a reclass background, but I'm not in charge of reclass land in initial now currently what I do is I do incentive pay, I do parole summary folders, I do review MT time, and if they're eligible, I report to the appropriate staff. And I also vet inmates in for different programs, and I approve staff requests once they get staffed in. We have a case manager currently assigned in the program. So instead of us sending our paperwork up, waiting on it to get finalized, I go ahead and finalize.
So, unique situation is sometimes you got to go and build a team. Listen, I'm telling you. Hear me say this. There are people that, you know, notice the word she said, they booted up, boom, she give y'all a good picture. They say, you're not worthy to be in this situation. Well, guess what? Hey, we need you. We gonna make sure you feel love over here. And sometimes that's what you gotta do. Y'all understand that? So what I'm telling you is, on that, because I'm still talking about the team, the table of building the team. Because I think I talked about this last time and we actually didn't get it done. So at that table, when you have that meeting, these are the kind of people you want to sit around the table. You want to collect them, so to speak. You want to go recruit them. Then you're going to say, some of y'all had to do what I did, is beg for them. Like, hey, I need this person because I got this plan in place, and then present it. So you know what I did? I wrote out my plan, and I said, this is a solution to a problem. What was the problem? Our inmates not getting staffed in. So if you put them under me, when I get an application, I'm not only gonna review it, I'm gonna get it approved, and guess what they're gonna do? You heard what she said, we're gonna finalize it, get staffed them in, and that's it. Guess what? And on my team, we had an individual that was moving people. That actually was in charge of, you remove, get it there. So I'm saying to you, I'm gonna go down again and say, when you see me going through this power camp, if you see a centipede, what you click in your mind, I need somebody that's familiar with a fitness track. I need somebody that can actually get trained, and that's a person that needs to sit at my table as my team leader. And what you're gonna have to do is do like I did. You gotta go to bat for your people. You gotta do that. Same when y'all want me to go to bat for y'all and cover y'all in some areas, that's what you do on a smaller scale, but at your facility. The very next thing, and look, if I hit clubs. Yes, ma'am.
So the reality is with MTIW is, okay, I've attempted to put a team together. But when we put that team in place, because we're so short staffed, the team is going other places and they're not able to sit there and do that. So it's all falling on me. So I sat down and I trained to learn to staff again because that was my area. Now I can't sit still because I'm being pulled in so many different directions. So now I'm learning, so with the incentive pay, if they're not staffed in, we can't go in that conversation and say, until we can get that done. So I didn't know that.
So no, because we shifted. Me and her was talking about two things. So there's a way to not harm the inmate is when they're involved in a program, instead of you waiting on them to get staffed in, what happens is, say the inmate is involved in the program, he's never been staffed in, but they don't have no record that he started. There's a way in the fitness track that you go under in the same section to plug them in with a date. This date they started. So that way you can go back whenever they say, look, they had one guy, he been working in the kitchen for 2 years. No record of him working in the kitchen. He tries to get his MBT time. Nobody knows. All he has is a roster. That's the only thing saving him, right? So what I'm telling you is, this is me being straight up. You have to go to your superintendent, and sometimes, look, this is where you get in a tight spot as a supervisor. You have to say, I need this for you to look good, for us to be successful. What do you need? I need my chaplain, I need this person, I need this person, I need this person. Oh, I'm just gonna tell you, you set me up for failure, you set yourself up for failure. And look, you gotta show it, like, so while we in this meeting, some of y'all have to just show the diagram and say, look, if you wanna have a successful program, this is all the people we need. And so if you don't fill in the gaps, we're not gonna be successful. And that way, they'll have a choice to make. Either I wanna be successful or I don't. But I would actually put it on, you know, and this is, I hate to do people this, you have to send an email and say, listen, this is what I need, and say why, okay? And we talking about it today so you'll have the information to actually ask for what you need. So programs, Again, clubs fall under program. And so this has been a long, what time is it? 10:55. How many you gonna get food? 12 o'clock. Y'all gonna eat at 12 o'clock. Can we take a break? I don't like about this scene. We've been talking. We take a break? Cause I don't want pass this subject right here, and y'all be saying, oh, he ain't really explaining the club situation to me. We're gonna go in depth with this because this is the area that, trust me, I'm getting tired of being told about I ain't doing my job when it comes to the club. So I'm gonna sit myself right here and talk to y'all about it. Chaplains, I'm sorry that y'all gotta sit here and listen to stuff that y'all don't. So let's look at your director and say, thank you, director. Y'all can have a 10-minute break.
Thank you, Director.
Mr. Smith, you're off. Not picking up.
But when you get your chapel, that's what you your place.
Oh, yeah.
You gonna be working Tuesday? Yes, you will.
I'll say I'll be there a little bit.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
He's the one who got to worry about this.
Hey, how you doing?